Howdy! My name is Whitney Thurmond. I'm an A-Led major at Texas A&M University, and I graduate this May. My topic is how agricultural youth leadership development programs give youth the leadership skills necessary to handle real-world encounters and become great leaders. The specific topics that I will cover today include interest in this topic of youth development through agriculture programs, characteristics of agriculture programs that help develop leadership skills necessary for real-life situations in the youth. A few examples of those leadership skills: the importance and relevance of the programs in young people's lives, the origin of the topic on why agricultural programs were created and how they help develop these leadership skills that I'm going to share with y'all. Then I'm also going to talk about strategies for implementation, and then I'll have a quick summary towards the end of the presentation. So, for the interest in my topic, I have included a table. This table shows the comparison of leadership life skills of 4-H members versus non-4-H members. So these 4-H members had increased levels of leadership skills over those who were not involved in 4-H. This supports my point that some agriculture programs are so successful because these kids learn skills through caring for animals and creating projects that require commitment and other leadership skills that are learned that make a difference. The effort they put in and the level of understanding of the skills increases because they have a passion for what they are participating in. Perceived leadership life skills development increased as participation in these specific activities increased. So basically, I'm just saying that whenever the youth is really involved and they enjoy and love and have a strong passion for what they do, and they're able to learn these skills while not even realizing they're learning them, it's better implicated and it's more grasped and absorbed. Since the youth have such an absorbable mind and they take in such information, by giving them opportunities and ways to learn these leadership skills and really dive in and commit to a project, they learn these skills without even realizing that they're learning these skills. I keep talking about these skills. Well, what are these skills? There are certain skills that are repeated throughout all of our text. They vary a little, but pretty much all have the same line. Each different source agrees upon a few skills or characteristics necessary for good leaders. A few of these skills are teamwork, communication, creativity, and decision making. These are just a few of them, though. I have more listed here on the slide. Most activities that these agriculture programs, such as FFA or 4-H, offer require support and help from others. This helps the working with others and the teamwork skill. Raising animals for show, getting elected for officer or president of their group, this doesn't happen without collaboration between members. Now, I understand that non-agriculture based programs offer ways to improve on these skills and benefit, but my point is that agriculture based offers a different group of kids that have grown up around animals maybe, or maybe not grown up around animals, an opportunity to learn outside of the classroom or in a totally new or different setting. Another skill that I find really important is the communicating. There's a part in here, a little quote that I found from a girl. She'd written an article about 10 things that I learned through an agricultural based program that I wouldn't have learned playing sports or doing something else. That was the gist of her title. And as you see here, it says, "You won't always lead a basketball team as an adult, but you will lead teams overcoming everyday problems and working together. That is where good social communication comes into play." I find it a little ironic that she used a basketball term as her example while she's talking about an agricultural program, but I totally agree. This is where social communication comes into play. You work with others, and in my opinion, non-communicating skills come into play here. You learn how to work with animals and work with other people, maybe without face-to-face direct communication. Another skill that I find really prominent through these programs is creativity. They offer certain tasks or projects available for kids to really branch outside and be creative and think of their own ideas and make a difference in the world, and the creativity to and have a be different from their classmate or raise an animal. It's not something that every kid gets to do, and it just from an early age they have a little diversity and a little creativity. Another one is public speaking, which I need help with. Here I get caught up again. I've recorded this for over and over, and no matter how many notes or how many times I've gone over it, I get stumped up, because truly through school most of my assignments really are writing papers or submitting things online, and not much have I had to create things where I talk fluently and public speak, and that's such a great skill to have that I need to work on and improve on as I've done this assignment. And where this isn't agricultural based, it's given me the opportunity to be creative, work on some public speaking, understand myself, maybe reflect on things I need to do, and that's things that the agricultural program gives these youth opportunities to do in a very different, creative way. And the last one, the one that I think is most important, is the commitment. These kids, they decide to start a project that's meaningful to them, or I keep referring to the animals, but it truly is. I have an animal background, and caring for animals and learning that commitment and dedication that they require from you is such an important skill that you carry to many other aspects in life. So I really liked this quote out of not one of our textbooks, my article that I found actually from a professor here at A&M, Professor Boyd, Barry Boyd, says the development of such skills through experiential learning is the cornerstone of 4-H youth programming. And it's just saying that, we get these skills and we can get them anywhere, but doing them through something we love, and this experimental learning type is very versatile and specific to these kind of programs, I think. Why these good leadership skills are so important to instill in the youth is because, unfortunately, there's just an increased sign of bad skills that we see in the youth. And unfortunately, they're growing and they're getting worse. And so agricultural programs such as 4-H and FFA, they instill these good skills, good leadership skills early on in life. And like I said, they don't even realize they're learning these skills. There's numerous statistics that show how our youth are lacking in necessary leadership skills. According to Developing Life Skills, 25% of nation's youth engage in high-risk activities. Now, high-risk activities are described as alcohol, tobacco, or drug use. They're seeing poor school performance or even just non-attendance. I think that goes into the commitment side that they learn through, caring with animals and dealing with other people. When you commit to something, you finish and you see it through. 1/3 of our youth fail to graduate high school. That's just lack of commitment. Teen pregnancy is increasing at an alarming rate. These are not the kind of examples we want to set for our younger generations. So by having these younger generations involved in agricultural-based activities just hopefully gets them in a better path and a better direction to be set up for life and be able to deal with life's encounters. You can read it here, but I really liked this quote, and I want to read it for emphasis. The number of our nation's youth exhibiting at-risk behavior points to a lack of skills necessary for adulthood skills in working with others, understanding yourself, communication. These are the skills that I mentioned earlier. And these skills are required by adults for everyday living, and they're often called leadership life skills. These are things that you need to have to just communicate with your professors or your job or your boss or anything. There's so many different aspects of life that learning these skills in these young youth programs will benefit from and carry over to. So specifically, the leadership skills, I know that I talked on them a little bit, but I find 2 of them super, super important to touch on and give a clear example. So FFA, they have these projects, and it allows these kids to come up with their own ideas and really stay committed and dedicated to something and feel achievement, when they complete that project and they see the end result and they see the possibility for change, and they have confidence boost, and it sets them up for better life encounters. The one that I agree with here is the quote on the bottom. Most important, young people want to be viewed as a part of the solution. So these programs, these agricultural programs, offer these kids an opportunity to think of an idea that they could be impactful in the future and in life, and how they can make a difference and how they can be a part of the solution. And when creativity is sparked that early, it never stops. It never stops turning. They never stop thinking, and who knows what that might lead to create in their later life. Creativity in young people is enhanced when adults respect their ideas and give them the latitude to follow through with their concepts from beginning to end. That's a quote from Gillen, Johnson, and Sinkin. And I just truly believe that the support from the parents and the staff, or the program coordinators, really helps these kids with the confidence, and their projects and their creativity. The second skill that I personally have found through the readings to be the most important is the leadership skill of commitment. The quote, it'll start off my point the best by just reading it. Following things through to completion. Seeing projects through to completion and knowing what you've learned while working on a project is everything when you're sitting in front of a judge. And that was from a quote from the girl that said 10 things that I learned through agricultural programs that I would not have learned through sports. And I find that so true. And they know the dedication after they've been through it and they've done it and they've experienced it firsthand. They know the dedication and the hard work that they put in, and that gives them the confidence when they're sitting in front of a judge. Here, it's an animal judge, but in life it could be a future boss. They're judging you, and with these kids learning how to be judged and be prepared for that, it helps them later in life be prepared for that job interview and have the confidence that they have the skills necessary to complete the job. I could go on and on how agriculture and animals help kids with the skills that they need, but these are just a few that I found really important and found some support with the text. Next, the importance or relevance of these programs in our youth development. Here I have a graph that I found off the 4-H website, and it shows how their positive youth development, it starts at this young age in these programs, and they learn how to build these skills and build their toolkit and use them later in life. And you see the PYD inputs, the positive youth development inputs, then it goes to the outcomes, and they see their results when they go to the show, or they see their results when their final project is finished, or they see their results whenever they're able to be important and make an impact in their community or their organization or whatever that may be. And then it says the impact of those, that everyone else around them can see, is the higher contribution to community and the reduced risk behavior that we talked about earlier in the beginning of drinking and tobacco and those other not so good ideas that unfortunately the youth are increasing and participating in. So basically just instilling these skills and these hard work ethics and the good dedication in the beginning, has outcomes of positivity and confidence and the want to continue to do good and continue to become a leader and show others how to change or how to be, or who to follow, what to be like to follow. You can read the quote here, but I'll also read it for you. Youth programs are important settings for youth to build and master social, physical, relationship, problem-solving, cultural, and a variety of other skills that can lead to success later in life. Thus, programs should be seen as intentional learning environments designed to help youth gain a wide variety of life skills. I know that was a lot of words and a lot of jumble, but basically, when do we not use social, physical, relationship, problem-solving, cultural, any of those skills in our any-day life? Just teaching these kids these skills without realizing that they're being taught these skills, then it comes easy to them in the future. There's a part in our textbook that says that kids just want to belong, that I mentioned earlier, and that they learn best through hands-on and activities that they enjoy and they find interest in. And that's a reason that agricultural-based youth to leadership programs have evolved, because others shared a love for agriculture and they wanted to share that love with others and educate and build good leaders, or grow good leaders, pun not intended, through activities that everyone cares about everyone has a passion for within the group. And these programs offer a wide variety for students to learn many different parts of agriculture and learn that it's not just about growing grass or growing cows, that programs such as FFA and 4-H, they offer, political side of it and running, running for office or doing whatever and learning how to manage people and get people to follow you and become a good leader. And they just give an opportunity to offer life skills to youth through a variety of these agricultural-based activities. Specific strategies that youth leadership professionals could take from these agricultural-based programs are the ability to let your learners be creative and find a way to stay committed. And I think specific examples of that could be maybe offer an agricultural option, or not even agriculture, this could reach to any other course. Just offer an outside option for a project that requires commitment, such as plant a pasture and document the progress over time and see how and why planting that pasture could be beneficial to not only the planter but everyone around them, and learn how agriculture ties into other aspects of the world and life experiences and real life situations that aren't necessarily just growing grass or planting crops or managing cattle. It all ties in and it has an effect and a ripple effect, and it's just an amazing opportunity for kids who maybe didn't grow up around animals to learn those different aspects and the agricultural side and how they're affected by agriculture. I think another specific example that leadership professionals could use is to give students a leadership voice, as mentioned in one of the quotes earlier. Just give their students an option to feel, or not an option, an opportunity to feel that success and that creativity and that confidence whenever they speak up and have the confidence to choose something and decide something and think of it on their own, and they grow their confidence and thus grow their leadership voice. So to summarize what all we've covered, I've gone over the leadership toolkit, as I like to call it, and just the specific skills that agricultural-based youth development programs offer and emphasize and build on and improve for the youth. Those who are involved in agriculture youth leadership development programs show to have better leadership skills than those who are not in these programs. I went over the characteristics that the program has in allowing the students to widen or broaden their horizons and improve their creativity and have confidence and take that into the real world in the future through creativity and commitment. And then we went over the characteristics of why these leadership skills are so important, because our kids aren't finishing high school and they're participating in high-risk activities such as drugs and tobacco, and these programs just give such an opportunity to start early and hopefully prevent that in the future. I went over the importance of this topic and the origins of where it stemmed from. These are a few of my additional resources that I browsed around. I have the 4-H websites here, the little fact sheet, the full report. The bottom one is the cute little article from the girl that just really enjoyed her time as an FFA, or I'm sorry, as a 4-H member, and what she gained from it, and those 10 things that the 4-H taught her that just sports wouldn't have conveyed as well. These are my works cited. These articles and scholarly journals and textbooks, along with my own knowledge, is what I used to create this presentation. So that's all of my presentation. I hope that I conveyed my topic thoroughly and everyone was able to understand what I was trying to say and relate it back to our text and see how these programs really benefit the youth and have an impact in our community and our future leaders.